A rejected Omega defended a pup from a rogue, unaware the Alpha King was watching. She had always been on the edges of her pack, a rejected Omega whose presence was barely noticed and whose opinions were rarely valued. Still, there was a fire in her heart, small but steady, one that refused to be extinguished. She kept her head down and her ears sharp, moving carefully along the familiar paths even if others thought her weak or unimportant. A sudden, high-pitched whimper broke the silence. Kayla froze. The sound was soft, urgent, and it tugged at something deep within her. She followed it, crouching low as the mist swirled around her ankles. Behind a thick cluster of brambles, she found a small pup, no older than a few months, trembling in fear. Its fur was matted, and its bright eyes reflected panic and despair. Before she could step closer, a low growl rolled through the trees. Kayla's eyes flicked to the shadow moving toward the pup, a rogue wolf, its fur dark as night, with scars streaking across its face. The rogue had been exiled months ago for attacks on other packs, and stories of its cruelty had spread like wildfire. The pup had no chance against it. Kayla's heart pounded, but she didn't hesitate. "Go away," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The rogue's lips curled in a snarl. "And who will stop me? You, a weak Omega." Weak. That word burned in Kayla's chest, but it didn't stop her. She took a step forward, planting herself between the pup and the rogue. "I may be an Omega, but I will not let you hurt him," she said. The rogue laughed, a dark, cold sound. "Brave words. Let's see if you can back them up." Kayla did not fight with claws or strength. She did not need to. She used the forest itself, slipping between the rogue and the pup, using fallen branches and uneven ground to trip and slow the attacker. She yelled and snapped twigs at him, distracting him while the pup scrambled to safety behind a large tree stump. The rogue lunged, and Kayla dodged, feeling the wind brush past her fur as sharp teeth nearly caught her shoulder. Her heart pounded fiercely, her breath coming in short bursts. She realized she could not defeat the rogue in a straight fight. But her courage, her quick mind, and her protective instinct gave her an advantage. She baited him toward the river, using the uneven stones to her benefit. Finally, the rogue stumbled and fell, sliding into the shallow, cold water with a splash. He emerged furious, but Kayla had already backed away, the pup trembling at her side. "You may have won this time," the rogue growled, shaking the water from his fur. "But the forest will not always protect you." With that, he vanished into the shadows, leaving Kayla and the pup alone. Kayla knelt beside the trembling creature. "It's okay," she whispered softly, brushing damp fur from its face. "You're safe now." The pup let out a small yip and nuzzled against her chest. Kayla felt a warmth in her heart she hadn't felt in a long time, the joy of protecting something weaker than herself, of doing something meaningful despite the rejection she had endured. But her relief was short-lived. High above the treetops, hidden among the cliffs, a pair of golden eyes watched. The Alpha King, Rayler, known for his cold and unyielding rule, had been passing through the territory. He had been following rumors of rogue activity, but it was Kayla's courage that caught his attention. He had seen many alphas, many warriors, many strong pack members, but few had dared to confront a threat with only bravery and cleverness. Kayla felt no eyes upon her, no judgment in the air, but the tension of the forest was different now, charged with a strange presence. She did not yet know that her life had changed, that her actions had drawn the attention of the most powerful alpha in the realm. For hours she stayed with the pup, keeping it warm and feeding it small berries and water she carried in her satchel. She gave it a name, murmuring softly, "I'll call you Fen. Fen will keep each other safe." The pup wagged its tiny tail, pressing close, and Kayla felt a fierce protectiveness grow stronger with each passing moment. As night deepened, the wind carried a faint, eerie howl. Kayla's ears twitched. It was not the rogue, it was something older, older than any wolf she had ever known. A chill ran down her spine. She wrapped herself around Fen, her instincts alert, yet her mind raced with fear and determination. She could not let harm come to the pup, no matter what. Suddenly the ground trembled slightly, and a shadow moved along the cliffs above. Rayler stepped into view, his massive frame cutting a powerful silhouette against the moonlight. Kayla froze, heart hammering in her chest. The Alpha King was real. His gaze was sharp, examining, and something in it made her feel seen in a way she had never experienced before. Not for her rejection, not for her status, but for her courage. "Who is this?" Rayler's voice was deep and commanding, yet not cruel. It carried authority, but there was curiosity there, a spark of something Kayla could not name. Kayla's voice trembled, though she forced herself to stand tall. "This is Finn. He is just a pup, and I protected him from a rogue." Rayler's eyes narrowed slightly, not in anger but in interest. He stepped closer, his presence immense, the forest seeming smaller in comparison to his figure. "You fought alone against a rogue." His tone carried disbelief and something more, something that brushed the edges of admiration. Kayla's ears flicked back. "I had no choice. He would have killed him. I couldn't let that happen." Rayler remained silent for a long moment, studying her. The moonlight glinted off his fur, making him appear almost otherworldly, and Kayla felt both fear and a strange pull toward him. She realized then that the forest was no longer empty. Its shadows now carried the weight of the Alpha King's gaze. Finally, Rayler turned slightly, his voice lower, almost a whisper carried by the wind. "You are brave or foolish. Perhaps both. Stay where you are. I will return with those who must see this." Kayla's ears twitched in confusion and worry. Who would see her? Why was this Alpha so interested? But before she could ask, Rayler leapt back to the cliffs, disappearing into the darkness as silently as he had appeared. Kayla sank to the ground, Finn pressed close to her chest, her mind racing. She had faced the rogue and survived. She had saved Finn. And now she had drawn the attention of the Alpha King himself. The night seemed to hold its breath. Somewhere in the shadows, danger still lingered. The rogue was out there, the forest was unpredictable, and the old curses whispered among the ruins were waiting. But Kayla felt something she had not felt in years, a sense of purpose. She was not invisible. She mattered, even if only to the small pup in her arms, and perhaps to the king whose eyes had pierced the shadows to find her. As she wrapped herself in her cloak, holding Finn close, a single thought ran through her mind: I will protect him, no matter what. Even if the world believes I am nothing. And high above, in the cliffs shrouded in silver mist, Rayler's eyes glowed faintly. He had seen more than courage. He had seen a spark that even the mightiest Alpha could not ignore. The forest held its secrets, the rogue lurked in the dark, and the night stretched ahead, heavy with tension and unspoken promise. The story of Kayla, the rejected Omega, and the pup she protected had begun. And unseen, destiny's threads were already weaving toward a path neither of them could yet understand. The dawn broke slowly over the wolf-born realm, filtering silver light through the mist that clung to the forest floor. Kayla sat beneath a gnarled oak, Finn pressed close to her chest, listening to the soft rustle of leaves. Sleep had been fleeting, filled with dreams of shadowed teeth and whispered growls, and yet she felt a strange strength humming through her limbs. The pup's small warmth against her side reminded her why she had survived the night. She would protect him, no matter the cost. Her thoughts were interrupted by movement above, the soft, silent padding of powerful paws. Kayla's ears twitched and her body tensed. It was him. The Alpha King, Rayler. He stepped from the mist like a shadow of the forest itself, his golden eyes calm yet assessing, his fur brushed silver in the morning light. "You should not be out here alone," Rayler said, his voice low, yet carrying an authority that made Kayla's heart quicken. "Danger is not gone, and your courage, though admirable, will not protect you forever." Kayla straightened, her back stiff. "I know, but Finn has no one else. I couldn't leave him to the rogue." Rayler's gaze flicked to the pup, then back to her. "You risked much for one so small. That is not a weakness, Kayla. It is unusual for someone of your position. His words were deliberate, carrying an unspoken curiosity. Kayla felt a flutter of something she had not felt in years: recognition, respect, even admiration. "Why are you here?" she asked cautiously. "I thought kings stayed in their castles far from these woods." Rayler's lips curved slightly, though his eyes remained serious. "A king sees more than his walls. I have been following this rogue for weeks, and I saw you last night. You acted with courage I have seldom witnessed. I wished to see if it was real." Kayla's ears flicked back. "I am no one important. I am just a rejected Omega." "Rejected does not mean powerless," Rayler replied firmly. "You acted when others would have fled. That matters more than status." Kayla's heart thumped. His words were strange, both frightening and warming. He did not mock her, nor belittle her, yet there was weight in his gaze that made her feel both exposed and valued at the same time. The forest stirred around them, and Kayla felt instinctively that the rogue had not given up. She had learned to trust her senses in the dark, to listen to the wind and watch the shadows. And the forest now hummed with tension, the warning growl of distant predators hidden among the trees. "I must train you," Rayler said suddenly, breaking the tense silence. "Not in strength alone, but in reading the forest and understanding threats. You cannot protect yourself or him without knowledge." Kayla blinked, startled. "Train me." "Yes," Rayler said. "If you wish to survive, and I suspect you do, you must learn more than courage. You must learn foresight, strategy, and the quiet power that comes from knowing your place and your strengths." Kayla hesitated, the weight of her rejection pressing in. She had always been told she was weak, unworthy, invisible. But now this king, the most powerful alpha in the realm, offered her guidance. Her heart battled between fear and desire, humility and pride. Finally, she nodded. "I will learn." Rayler's expression softened slightly, a rare flicker of approval. "Good, we begin at once." For days, Rayler took Kayla through the forest, teaching her to move like the wind, to sense danger before it arrived, and to anticipate the rogue's patterns. Kayla's body grew stronger, her mind sharper. Fen followed at her side, learning as well, and the bond between Omega and pup deepened. Rayler watched silently at times, his gaze heavy with something Kayla could not yet name. During one lesson, Kayla stumbled across a hidden glade filled with mist and ancient stones. Strange markings glimmered faintly, etched into the rocks like whispers of forgotten magic. Kayla's eyes widened. "What is this place?" Rayler's ears twitched. "A site of old curses, forgotten by many. It is dangerous but also powerful. You must learn to respect what is unseen as much as what is visible." Kayla's pulse quickened. The rogue's presence suddenly felt closer, as if drawn by this ancient energy. She shivered, hugging Fen close. Rayler stepped beside her, his presence both comforting and commanding. "Fear is natural," he said softly, "but courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite it." As they studied the glade, a rustle in the trees froze them both. The rogue had returned, stronger and more determined. His eyes burned with malice and his teeth gleamed in the dim light. He had tracked them, and now he was ready for a final confrontation. Kayla's heart raced, but she no longer felt helpless. She had learned much from Rayler, how to move silently, how to anticipate, how to protect Fen without recklessness. And yet she knew the rogue was cunning and dangerous. The rogue lunged, teeth snapping. Kayla rolled aside, Fen yipping in fear. Rayler leapt forward with power that shook the earth, intercepting the attack with a force that sent the rogue stumbling. Kayla rose quickly, circling, keeping Fen safe behind her. She spotted a fallen branch and used it to trip the rogue again, working with Rayler, not just following him. "You have grown stronger," Rayler said quietly, as they moved in rhythm, each action deliberate, almost like a dance. "But strength alone will not win this." Kayla understood. She used her mind, her instincts, and her bond with the pup to anticipate the rogue's moves. She shouted commands to Fen, guiding the pup to safety, and even the small creature seemed to respond with surprising bravery. Finally, with a coordinated effort, Rayler forced the rogue to the edge of the glade, where the mist swirled thick and cold. Kayla stood firm, her chest heaving, eyes locked on the rogue. The pup yipped from behind her, courage bolstered by Kayla's calm presence. The rogue hesitated, sensing the power before him, not just Rayler's, but Kayla's as well. There was something in her eyes now that had not been there before, a fire born of protection, courage, and the bond she had forged with the pup. For a moment even the rogue seemed uncertain. Then, with a final growl, he fled into the forest, disappearing into the shadows as the mist swallowed him. Kayla sank to her knees, breathing heavily, Finn pressing close. Rayler stood beside her, eyes glowing with quiet approval. "You have done well," he said, "far better than I expected." Kayla's ears flicked back, uncertainty mixing with pride. "I could not have done it without you," she admitted softly. Rayler's golden eyes softened, and for the first time Kayla saw something in him she had not expected. Respect, perhaps even admiration, mixed with a complexity she could not yet name. "You needed no help," he said quietly. "You needed guidance, and you used it wisely. That is rare." For a long moment silence fell over the glade. Kayla's heart thumped, filled with an unfamiliar warmth. She realized she had changed, no longer just the rejected Omega. She had become someone capable, strong, and worthy of notice. And the Alpha King had noticed her, not for her status, but for her courage and heart. The wind carried the whispers of the forest, and Kayla shivered. She knew the rogue was not gone forever, and the shadows still held dangers she could not yet see. But for the first time she felt prepared. She had Finn, she had learned from Rayler, and she had discovered a strength within herself that she had never known. Rayler's voice broke her thoughts. "Rest now. You will need your strength. Tomorrow we continue." Kayla nodded, watching the Alpha King disappear back into the misted trees. She did not know what lay ahead, more dangers, perhaps more trials, but she knew one thing clearly: she would not run. She would not hide. She would stand, protect, and grow, no matter the cost. And somewhere high above, beyond the trees and the shadows, Rayler's gaze lingered on her. He had seen bravery, cleverness, and heart. But he had also seen something deeper, a spark that could change not just the life of a rejected Omega, but the future of the entire wolf-born realm. The rogue had fled, the forest was quiet once more, and the mist rolled gently across the glade. But destiny had already begun its work. Kayla's journey was only beginning, and with Rayler watching, she knew that the path ahead would test not just her courage, but her heart. The forest was darker than usual that night. Mist clung low to the ground, curling around gnarled roots and stones like silent spirits. Kayla moved carefully, Finn pressed close to her side, both alert to every sound. The rogue had not been seen since the last confrontation, but she knew better than to trust the quiet. Danger lingered, patient and cunning, and the shadows whispered promises of challenges still to come. Rayler moved beside her, his presence immense, yet measured. He had trained her well, teaching her to anticipate threats and read the signs of the forest. Kayla had grown stronger, sharper, more aware of both herself and the world around her. And yet tonight, even she felt a tremor of fear as the wind carried an unfamiliar, sinister howl. "Stay close," Rayler instructed softly. "The rogue is clever, but he is not beyond being lured. Trust your senses and trust me." Kayla nodded, gripping Finn gently. Her mind flickered back to the first night she had protected him, the fear and uncertainty she had felt. She had come a long way since then. The rejected Omega now walked with courage, her chest lifted, her ears alert, and her mind racing with strategy. She had learned that survival was not just about strength, it was about patience, cunning, and heart. As they moved deeper into the forest, a faint glow appeared between the trees. Kayla felt a shiver run through her. The ruins of the old stone circle, the place of whispered curses and forgotten magic, lay ahead. The air felt thick, almost alive, and even Finn trembled, pressing closer to her side. Rayler paused, his eyes narrowing. The rogue has chosen his battleground. He knows the forest, but he underestimates us. His voice was calm, yet carried an intensity that made Kayla's fur prickle. You must be ready for anything, Kayla. Trust yourself as much as you trust me. Kayla swallowed hard, nodding. She felt a mix of fear and determination, the pulse of adrenaline quickening her heartbeat. For a moment, she allowed herself a thought. She was not alone anymore. Finn was with her. Rayler was with her, and together they could face what lay ahead. The rogue emerged from the shadows suddenly, his dark eyes glowing with malice. He had grown larger, stronger, driven by rage and desperation. You cannot hide behind your king forever, Omega, he snarled. This ends tonight. Kayla stepped forward, positioning herself between Finn and the rogue. Her heart raced, but she held her ground. We are not hiding, she said, her voice steady. We are standing. Rayler circled, his movements fluid and commanding, flanking the rogue and cutting off any escape. The rogue lunged at Kayla, snapping with sharp teeth, but she ducked and rolled, using the terrain to her advantage. She had learned to anticipate, to react quickly, to think several steps ahead. Now, Rayler called, his voice a low, commanding growl. Kayla pivoted, using a fallen branch to trip the rogue, sending him staggering toward the ruin's edge. Finn barked, running forward instinctively to distract the rogue. Kayla's eyes widened in surprise, but she knew it was right. The pup's courage mirrored her own. The rogue growled, his focus split between Rayler's power, Kayla's agility, and the pup's unexpected boldness. For the first time he hesitated, uncertainty flickering across his dark eyes. Kayla seized the moment, her mind racing. She leapt to the side, positioning herself to guide the rogue's momentum toward the ancient stones. Rayler followed her lead seamlessly, a silent understanding passing between them. They were no longer teacher and student in this moment. They were partners, moving in sync, each complementing the other's strength. Kayla felt a thrill run through her, not of fear, but of power, control, and trust. She had become more than she had ever imagined. The rogue stumbled, crashing into the stones. A faint glow burst from the ancient markings, pulsing with energy. Kayla froze, sensing the magic of the place responding to the chaos. The rogue howled in frustration and rage, struggling to regain balance, but Rayler moved with precision, his immense power pressing him back. Kayla stepped forward, her voice firm, commanding, "Leave now. This forest does not belong to you." For a tense moment, the rogue seemed as if he might attack again. Then, with a final snarl, he retreated into the mist, vanishing into the shadows from whence he came. The forest fell silent, save for the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft breathing of Kayla, Finn, and Rayler. Kayla sank to her knees, breathing heavily, Finn nuzzling her hand. She felt an overwhelming mix of exhaustion, relief, and triumph. She had faced the rogue, she had protected the pup, and she had done so with courage and intelligence that even the Alpha King had acknowledged. Rayler approached, his golden eyes calm yet glowing with admiration. "You have done well, Kayla," he said. "Far beyond what I expected. You are no longer merely the rejected Omega. You have proven your worth, your courage, your heart, your mind." Kayla looked up at him, her ears flicking uncertainly. I could not have done it without you," she admitted softly. "You taught me so much." Rayler lowered his head, his eyes meeting hers. "I taught you the forest, but it was your heart that won this battle. Your courage, your care for the pup, your willingness to stand, that is what makes you remarkable." For a long moment, they simply looked at each other. Kayla felt a strange warmth in her chest, a sense of connection she had never known. She had been rejected, cast aside, and unseen, but here in the quiet aftermath of chaos she felt seen, truly seen. Rayler stepped closer, the silver moonlight painting him in hues of power and grace. "The forest has many dangers still," he said softly. "But I believe you are ready for them, and I wish to be by your side if you allow it." Kayla's ears flicked back in surprise. The idea of the Alpha King, the ruler of the realm, standing beside her not as a teacher or authority, but as an ally, as someone who saw her worth, it filled her with both fear and hope. She nodded, finding her voice. I would like that. I want to learn. And I want to protect Finn and this forest. Rayler's lips curved slightly, the faintest smile appearing for the first time. Then we will face whatever comes together, and perhaps together we will find more than survival. Perhaps we will find strength we did not know we had. Kayla felt a shiver of understanding. It was not just about fighting or survival or even the rogue. It was about growth, trust, and connection. She had stepped from rejection into recognition, from fear into courage, and from isolation into companionship. The pup yipped, bounding happily between them, and Kayla laughed softly, feeling a warmth she had never felt before. Finn had not only survived, he had become part of a bond that was forming between Kayla and Rayler. And that bond, fragile and new, carried the weight of possibility, hope, and quiet magic. The wind rustled the ancient stones, carrying whispers of old curses and unseen magic. Kayla felt the pulse of the forest, steady and alive, and knew that challenges would come again. But she also knew that she was no longer alone, and that courage and heart could overcome even the darkest of shadows. Rayler stepped closer, brushing past her gently, his voice soft and commanding. Rest now, Kayla. Tomorrow, the forest and the realm will call upon us again. But tonight, you have earned peace. Kayla nodded, holding Finn close. She allowed herself a moment to simply breathe, to feel the bond forming with the king who had once been distant and untouchable. She realized that her journey had only just begun, but for the first time she did not feel fear. She felt readiness, strength, and a quiet sense of destiny. Above them, the moon glowed full and bright, illuminating the forest in silver light. The rogue was gone, the shadows held no immediate threat, and yet the magic of the ruins hummed faintly, a reminder that the forest's secrets were many and deep. Kayla did not feel alone in that mystery. She had Finn. She had Rayler. And she had discovered within herself a courage and heart that could face anything. As the three of them rested in the moonlight, a subtle warmth passed between Kayla and Rayler, not just in companionship, but in understanding, trust, and unspoken connection. The rejected Omega had been transformed, her path now entwined with the Alpha King and the pup she had chosen to protect. The forest whispered around them, alive with possibility, danger, and ancient magic. And for the first time in her life, Kayla did not fear what the future might hold. She faced it boldly, with heart, courage, and an unbreakable bond that promised more than survival. It promised a new beginning. The rogue had fled, but the wolf-born realm had already been changed. And at the heart of it, beneath the moon's silver gaze, Kayla and Rayler stood together, ready to face whatever destiny awaited.